what they probably recognize, I can't just be a stay-at-home, do-nothing person. I can't do that. And I like feeling like I'm accomplishing something, and I hope I do a few good things around here, so.
And why are we not hearing
The
them?
other day, yeah. Oh, we have a lot, yeah, it's changed. So I think, well, I didn't know what all y'all went through before, but we have a lot that we just think good people with good moral compasses to be here, yeah, no doubt. I was going to try and go to this tomorrow, but I've got a sick grandchild that may have to miss school tomorrow, so I may have to miss that. Torch awards. To the Torch Awards. I
Yeah,
hadn't
last
been to
one,
those.
4-H. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Second, all in favor? If you would, please rise and join us for the invocation. Dear Lord, we come together today and thankful for all that you've done for us. And as we close out the school year and all the celebration for the achievements of our students, that you keep them safe and healthy through this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
If you'd please remain standing as our East Hall ROTC students present the colors, and we have an opportunity to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Face. Freeze. Color.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Color. Ready. Cut. Right. Face. Forward. March. Left. Left. Left.
Thank you, East Hall, and please be seated.
Messed me up, aren't you? What was it doing?
And we have a few recognitions
No, it
tonight.
keeps going back and forth.
That's- Got a room full here.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, yes, we're super excited for our recognitions tonight. We are going to begin with recognitions out of our CTAE department, and Rhonda Samples, our Executive Director of CTAE, is going to do those for us. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you. It's exciting to come back again tonight with some additional first and second place winners. All I can say is we have had a phenomenal year with CTAE. And so this makes about the third night, I think, had the privilege of being here at the board meeting to introduce our state winners. And so tonight, we have a lot of state winners. It seems like, in the spring, all of this happens, and we try to bring in some early, and then all of a sudden, there's like 3 or 4 more conferences, and that's what happened. So we have a lot of students to recognize tonight. We're going to start with our 4-H students first, and I'm going to introduce Garrett Hibbs. He is the County Extension Coordinator and Agriculture and Natural Resource Agent, that's a mouthful, with UGA Extension Hall County. So welcome tonight, and I think you have some 4-H winners to talk about.
Best extension agent in Georgia, by the way. Welcome, Garrett.
Oh, shucks. Well, first of all,
I want to thank the board for the opportunity to recognize our 4-Hers tonight, and more importantly, I want to thank this
turn this on. There we go. But more importantly, I want to thank this board for the tremendous amount of resources that y'all put into some of the best agriculture education programs in the state of Georgia, and not only in the state, but really in the nation. We've got students that have had some tremendous achievements this year. We're going to recognize just a few in a little bit, but in terms of agriculture, I know a lot of the parents in this room know that that's this state's #1 industry. It contributes over $100 billion to our state. And a lot of times it's students in these programs, 4-H and FFA, that go on to be leaders in this industry. But if I have to boil down just in a nutshell, what students in these programs get mainly is lifelong hands-on skills, skills in public speaking, skills in leadership development, and a sense of community service with all the service projects that they have to do throughout the year. And even if they don't pursue careers in agriculture, all of these things are going to make them successful in whatever they do. We have a tremendous achievement to recognize tonight with our 4-Hers. This year in Hall County 4-H, our students, both our middle school team and our high school team, were first place in the state of Georgia in the state 4-H dairy judging contest. What is dairy judging? This is a competition where students have to learn the physical traits of dairy cattle, and through research, some of these traits we understand relate to a highly productive animal. They have to place classes, and then most importantly, they have to defend why they placed that class the way they did by delivering a speech that they only have 15 minutes to prepare, and then they have to give in front of a judge. One very interesting thing that happened this year in the state contest is this year there was a tie for first and second place. And the rules of this contest state that it's the better talkers that win the contest. And our students, through their skills of being able to deliver that speech in a short amount of time to a judge, that's what made them state champions. And our high school team will now go on to represent the state of Georgia at the World Dairy Expo in Madison, Wisconsin this fall, which is just the biggest dairy event in the world. And so it's a tremendous achievement in addition to our middle school students winning the state champion. So if they'll please come out, we'd love to recognize them now.
Stick around for
Is this the entire team?
This is our high school team here, and then just, all right.
Then Garrett, if we could get a picture with you with the whole team
Absolutely.
and the chairman, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we have with us on the far left, we have Caroline Riley of North Hall High School, Jesse Prickett of North Hall High, and also Maddie Kilgore, North Hall High. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah. And parents, if you'd like a copy of these pictures, just ask your principal and he will get them to you. And you're, of course, welcome to take your own. Congratulations.
Ms. Riley. You need to write real stories about your mom and dad.
We got a deal being made right now. All right. Well, now let's take an opportunity to recognize our middle school team and their championship here.
Make sure I get the right stack here.
stuff.
Oh, great.
Yeah, this,
These are all high school. West Hall High.
Some more here.
West Hall High.
Put it back down there. Well, ask them their names, introduce, get a good picture, we'll pay.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that now.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. You have their names?
Well, I'll just announce them right here.
Okay,
On
awesome.
our far left, we have Adeline Giles from North Hall Middle. In the middle here, we got Dusty Adams from West Hall Middle. And we also have Kennedy Davis. Let's give them a round of applause.
There's one. Don't you go anywhere, we're gonna get these.
Brooke Paget, Dusty Middle.
There's one.
Paget's not in. Jack Smith.
Where's Brooke?
Okay.
We got one more? We
Yeah,
got,
Bill's got the last one. Okay, they got them. Okay.
Bill was holding them.
All right, these are all FFA, and they're
All
all
right, get a
FFA.
good picture with those,
These are
come
the
on.
teachers.
Now it's gonna be. I better start looking who's next. Congratulations, North Hall Middle.
Congratulations again. I love what you said. We have students that are getting awards, and the skills that they're talking about are public speaking, community service, presentation within a time limit. That is something. So congratulations again. Well done. And that's on top of the content knowledge, right? On top of it, yes. Awesome. Okay, Rhonda, are we ready to move forward now with our CTSO recognitions?
We are. And first up, we'll move to Cherokee Bluff High. We have Molly Sutherland. She won silver at the state competition with FCCLA in the Promote and Publicize STAR event, along with Mary Alice Watts. They were a team. Silver. Okay, Mary's not here tonight. And so I would ask if any of the advisors or admin are here, if they'll come forward. Denise Ramsey, the principal, Shannon Reed, the AP.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Right.
Okay, next we have Sydney Young, who also received silver at the state FCCLA for leadership portfolio. Sydney Young. All right, admin to join.
Congratulations.
Next, we'll move to East Hall High School, and we have several students to recognize with FFA tonight. These students earned the state FFA degree, and it is the highest award that a high school student can earn at the state convention is to earn their FFA degree. And so from East Hall High School, and I'm not sure if any of these ladies made it, but I know that the assistant principal, Micah Hoyt, is here, so he may end up accepting all of these, Dr. Smith, but Mackenzie Buffington, Haley Hewell, Isaac Irvin, and Melanie Serrano all earned their state FFA degree. Okay, so Mr. Hoyt. You look very smart here, earning 4 FFA degrees.
Micah, do you want us to take your picture?
I've had my pictures.
Okay.
They actually just got back from the state conference Saturday or even Sunday, so it was a lot to try to, but we've got a lot of FFA members here tonight. Okay, next, moving on to Flowery Branch High School, we have Emma Rogers with CTI, who was second in the state for early childhood. We have Principal Farah and the Assistant Principal Julie Crouch. Is Julie? Yes, we do. Okay, and we have CTI Coordinator Ashley Lewis.
Congratulations.
Okay. The next two, and Julie and Mr. Farrow, they'll be accepting this on their behalf, but Wahab Taseer and Katie Wisely won the gold level for their school-based enterprise at state, and they are right now competing at the international conference. And so that was a little bit more important because we hope they end up bringing something home from international. So, but we did want to recognize those two students. So congratulations to them. Next, we have Chloe Durham and Allie Woodside for FCCLA, and they won gold at state for in fashion design.
And we have to ask you, what did you design, ladies?
We designed a wedding dress for our 8th grade ELA teacher that she will be wearing at her wedding this December.
She's gonna wear it?
Yes.
That's amazing.
We made one last year, was the one that she will actually wear, but this year we made a replica, but a better design, and put our story to our judges.
That's incredible. Congratulations, that's amazing. I've
We
got a
have-
daughter getting married. You think you can help?
There we go. And we have Taylor Skidmore, who is their FCCLA advisor, with us tonight. We have another young lady to recognize for FCCLA at state, silver level. And notice the last name, Sydney Crouch. I wonder if she might be kin to somebody else standing up here. So, in the area of sports nutrition, which will also be a new pathway for us at Flowery Branch next year, sports nutrition. So congratulations.
Good job.
All right, we'll move to Johnson High School. We have Gabriel Coleman for CTI. He was first in the state for law, public safety, corrections, and security.
No, they've got those. This is West.
And we have Principal Edwards here with us, her advisor, Michelle Seaboat.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We have Ernesto Magana with CTI, and he was first in the state for video production. I think Johnson racked up some CTI awards this year.
Congratulations.
Okay, next we have a state officer. She was elected Region 2 representative with HOSA, and here is my challenge. I practiced before this board meeting, and I told her, I said, just pray for me that I'll get this right. It's Rena Agborsengaya, and I messed that up, didn't I? So come here to the mic and tell us.
My name is Reina Agborsengaya. Thank you.
Okay. I was a little close. Okay.
And those are those soft skills we were talking about, right?
And Raina, now that you're the state officer, what changes are you going to make? So,
So one of the biggest things that I
Fantastic. Great job.
Okay, we're gonna leave you standing up here, Rena, and you're gonna be joined by Frank Guzman with HOSA, and together they represented the HOSA chapter, and they received the Gold Elite chapter, and only 3 chapters in the entire state received this, and there's their advisor, Ashley Turner.
Congratulations.
I think 3 chapters out of about 300 chapters in the state was pretty doggone good, so congratulations.
Raina, do you get to boss him around now that you're like the officer? Or?
Not yet, she said. She did. No, she has to. No, that's right. All right, then we have Lanier College and Career Academy. We're coming back to FFA. So these 2 individuals earned their state FFA degree. Again, the highest state award that they can receive. We have Fenton Pierce and Mauricio Garcia cannot be with us tonight, but we're going to recognize you. We're going to ask Casey Gilbert, their advisor, and then our assistant principal. And Mauricio, thank you, is also attends LCCE and Johnson. So,
And Casey, getting the state award is a big deal. Tell everybody what that is.
It's a huge deal. So they say less than 3% of FFA members statewide get the state FFA degree. It's the culmination of 300 hours of their SAE project, which is their supervised agriculture experience project. So Fenton is doing a lot of welding. But he also has to do 25 community service hours and complete his 5 activities for FFA during the course of his 3-year period.
And my understanding is then that the awards night, the teacher takes them out for pizza after they get the award. Is that part of it? Okay. Okay. Congratulations.
okay, we'll move to North Hall High School. And so first up, we have Brock Hunter representing FFA. And I remember, and I'm sure there are other people in this room remember, but we recognized Brock last year. And Brock came in 2nd last year. And so he went again this year to state. He brought home 1st in agricultural processing, and the basis of his project was our Meat Science Center. So we're extremely proud of Brock, his advisor Morgan Connor, and of course Principal Wells here.
And Brock can do absolutely anything, and he could go anywhere and cut any cut of meat on any animal that they've handled. You've been there 3 years now, Brock, and also does incredible metal work, incredible woodwork, and talk about a craftsman. We are so proud of you. Great job, Brock.
You brought your plaque. Very good. All right, we have Brent Walker with CTI. And Brent was 1st in the state for advertising campaign, and we have his advisor, Ashley House, with him tonight.
Good job.
Congratulations. All right, we're going to move back to FFA. We have 1st in the state for the State Livestock Show weight class, Maggie Moose.
Woo. And Maggie, what was the name of your animal that you won the state? Maggie. Maggie, what was the name of your animal that you won 1st place with? Ellie Mae. Okay. Congratulations.
Maggie, just stay over here. We've got several that we're gonna repeat here with FFA. So next we have Caroline Riley, who was 1st in the state for the State Livestock Show, was reserve grand champion commercial dairy heifer.
Woo. All right, Caroline, what was that heifer's name? Caroline, what was your heifer's name? Nellie. Okay, Ellie Mae and Nellie so far. Don't go anymore. Don't go anywhere. You guys got more.
Next, we have Jesse Prickett, was second in the state for State Livestock Show 10th grade showmanship.
Woo! And what was your animal's name? Emmy Lou.
All right, North Hall has some state FFA degrees, the highest state award that you can receive. We have Ava Haney and Emma Grace Wills.
Woo! Morgan, get in there. Congratulations.
All right, next we're going to bring up a team. They were first in the state for the Georgia National Junior Livestock Show, champion junior dairy, county group of 5, and we have Maggie Moose, Bailey Fair, Caroline Riley, Brooke Pageant, and Jack Smith.
Woo!
Let's get, yes. We've got 2 represented here with North Hall Middle and 3 North Hall High. So we have Lee Strawbridge here, the FFA advisor at North Hall Middle, and then of course the assistant principal, Chris Hayes. So we got a
Oh,
large
get that, you gotta get that silver, that cup out front there. There you go. Congratulations all, that's incredible.
All right, North Hall Middle, if Brooke Pageant will come back. Brooke Pageant was first in the state for the Georgia National Junior Livestock Show Grand Champion Dairy Heifer. She was the Grand Champion for the Registered Dairy Heifer, and she was also the Grand Champion for the 8th grade Dairy Cattle Showman and Dairy Heifer. And if we can get her advisor, Ms. Strawbridge, and Mr. Haynes,
Craig.
and everybody get a group picture.
She's got,
So,
you gotta get all hers together. Here we go.
Needless to say, Brooke has won probably about 6 awards with FFA.
And Brooke, what's the name of your heifer? Billy. Billy, okay. Congratulations, wow.
All right, we have a team that came second in the state from North Hall Middle in the Junior Dairy Cattle Evaluation, Abigail Adams, Harper Clark, Brooke Pageant, and Lily Truelove.
Come on, get in there. Everybody 8th grade and going to high school, or are we gonna, okay, so we'll see at the high school winning it next year, so congratulations, that's great.
Great job.
Okay, moving on to West Hall High School, we have Rollis Ann Bratcher, CTI, second in the state for healthcare science.
That's
Is
your
she
next one.
here? Yes, you are.
Woo!
Good. And her advisor, Brianna Cagle.
Congratulations. Good for you.
Then we have Jessica Ososcalo, who placed second in the state for career exploration and job interview, and was also the CTI Outstanding Senior Scholarship.
Now, what was, no, you can't leave that early. Hey, what was your hardest question that you had to answer for the job interview? What was the hardest one?
I think the hardest question was about my portfolio because I couldn't visibly see it, and they just asked me to describe it, and the portfolio was pretty long. I spent about 3-4 weeks on it, and so not being able to see my actual portfolio and then asking me a specific question about it made that be the hardest question that they asked me. But other than that, not really. They just asked me about the job that I was going for, graphic design, and all my achievements, and I kind of told them about myself so we could get to know each other, even though it was about a 5-minute interview. So.
Well, congratulations. You
I
must
see a
have done
graphics
awesome.
teacher smiling, so have you had Miss Perkle? Yes.
Great job.
All right, before we move on to our teacher recognitions, do we have any students that we missed? Anybody? Okay, just checking. All right, we're going to move on, and we've got some special recognitions for some teachers. And I know what they've gone through because when I taught marketing, I industry certified that program twice at North Hall High School. I industry certified it the next year at Chastity High School when I transferred there. So it is a lot of work. It's a lot of standards. It's a lot of extra work. But I know that these teachers, they take it serious. They spend extra hours. And so when you get to that day and you go through that industry certification process, at the end of the day, you're like, it's a lot off your shoulders. So we have some very special recognitions for these teachers. And usually a system does not have 7 in a year. We have had 7. We did number 6 and number 7 this past Friday, and so we're going to recognize all of our programs. And so we're extremely proud of these folks. And Georgia DOE does come in, and they have a part of the program, but they're not the ones that certify these career tech programs. It's business and industry that certifies these folks. So it's business and industry, some from our local community, and then they bring others in. They're the ones that are saying that they're meeting their standards. So we're going to begin with Cherokee Bluff High School, and the Principal Ramsey is going to accept, and Shannon Reed as the CTA EAP. Bo is at the International DECA Conference, but we did want to recognize Bo for all of his hard work at Cherokee Bluff High School.
And that's in marketing.
Correct.
All right. Get in there, Shannon. Give me a picture.
Okay, next we have East Hall High School. Dennis Shirley, the Automotive Technology Program. And so Dennis is sick today, but accepted on his behalf is Michael Hoyt, the Assistant Principal at East Hall High School.
And Micah will take your picture, okay? That's great.
Next, we have Flowery Branch High School. We have Harmon Tyson and Kyle Frederick with engineering. And so we have Principal Farah here with us tonight. And I do have to say that, Harmon, what was your score on your industry certification?
100.
Woo!
100.
Oh,
Second
that's
one
awesome.
in 15 years. There we go.
Not surprised. Congratulations. Tell Freddie congratulations, too.
Graphic Arts, Diana Lunt. PIAG actually certifies their programs.
Congratulations.
Next, we have healthcare science. We have Dr. Caitlin Castile and Carly Sosby. Those two ladies will come up. And because our programs are industry certified, our students can earn an extra seal on their diploma. So it means a lot to our students too, and the students do a fabulous job. They interview our students as part of the process also.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Next, we have West Hall High School. We have Carol Parrish. And so this one is special because she came up this year. It's the first year in Hall County. And so she certified the audio video program at West Hall High School, and it's our first audio video program in the county to get industry certified.
Good. Thank you, Carol.
But you know how competition affects others?
No.
So we have applied for Chastity to earn their industry certification, all because Carol went through the process this year. So then we have our graphic arts program at West Hall High School, and we have Angela Perkle and Caitlin Hickey. Whew.
Congratulations, lady. Well done.
Congratulations to all of our students, all of our teachers. Thanks to the Board of Education and Superintendent Schofield for all of your support. I love what I do. I love CTAE, as you can tell, and I love celebrating folks. So thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Great job.
Well, instead of waiting till the end of the meeting this time, since we're doing recognitions, we have, I think, 2 candidates for school board. If they'd like to stand up and just introduce themselves. Yeah, that's fine.
Hello, I'm Susan Acock Smith, and I'm running for the at-large position for the Board of Education.
Thank you. And early voting starts today.
Early voting started today, it did.
I'm Joe Anglin. I'm also running for the at-large seat on the Republican ticket.
Thank you for putting yourself out there. That's great.
Well, that cleared the room out, didn't it? All right, we have the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Second? All in favor?
Suzanne.
Okay, in the way of curriculum and instruction, the first item that we have really is an informational item. Every year, as you know, we apply for the Georgia School Board Association Exemplary Board status, and the 2 items that I'm going to go over next have to do with that as we're beginning to gather our information in regards to that. Each year, we put on the board agenda the governance team norms and protocols, and those are being opened as I speak. And you will see that those are 15 terms, if you will, that we as a governance team, a school board member, if you will, norms that guide your service to the board. These are not new. In fact, these were on the board agenda last April 14th. You all saw them and approved them. And so I put them back before you just as a reminder of what we all agreed upon. So, Mr. Chairman, no action, just that we had that on the board. Any questions for me in regards to those?
Deborah changed her mind about that.
We'll have to talk about that later, Dr. Smith. Okay. Oh, as I was saying a minute ago, we do need, Mr. Chairman, to approve those. I had already asked for grace before I started this meeting, and you were so gracious to give it to me. So I'm going to play that card. So we do need to approve that we've agreed upon these norms. Thank you, Dr. Llewellyn.
And I'll
Please
make
stand
that
up
in the
again
form
if
of a
I
motion, please.
mess up.
Do you have a motion? Second? All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, moving along again in regards to the GSBA exemplary board. Each year, we do have to do a self-assessment. There is no attachment there, but I do have hard copies that I'm going to give each of you. Just like we've done in the years past, we will need you to do the self-assessment. That is an internal review that we will use to guide our practices moving forward. One change, Mr. Schofield, this year is that the GSBA is asking for the superintendent to fill that out as well. So I will give you hard copies, but I'll also email you our preferred method of completing that, which will be a Google Doc, because what we'll have to do is compile those, get our consensus on how we move forward with your recommendations. I'm asking for that by next Monday, the 4th. So I'll get that out to you immediately and give you the hard copies today. Amanda, anything I have forgotten in that regard? Whew, okay. All right. Thank you. All right, moving on to our next item under teaching and learning is the Learning Commons dedication, which is tomorrow. I came around right before the meeting had started and put the hard copy of that invitation at your tables. So we hope that you can join us. That's tomorrow. Gracious, how did we get to April 28th tomorrow? Beginning at 11:30, we will be we will be at Johnson High School in the Mary Jane Murray Learning Commons, but there we will be honoring the naming of West Hall Middle, Flowery Branch Elementary, Martin Elementary, and Sugar Hill Elementary there. So we're certainly hoping that each of you can join us tomorrow. And again, that is at 11:30.
And we'll also be celebrating a $100,000 donation for those media centers at that time. So thank you, Suzanne.
Again, the Ivester Foundation has been super generous to us as we are meeting the needs of our boys and girls. Okay.
How many does that make, Dave?
12.
12.
16.
16, is it?
This year will be 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the 26-27 middle school agendas, to get approvals of those agendas. And Dr. Jason Carter is right there in the front row, and he's going to go over some substantive changes for each of those publications.
Yes, so we didn't have a whole lot of changes this year, and we had for the middle school, we'll start there first, the overall guidelines. We had one addition.
If you, let me just hold on just one minute, Dr. Carter. If you, rather than opening each individual document, if you could go down to the substantive changes, is that where you'd like to start, Dr. Carter? Yes. So you would go, perfect. Thank you.
These are the major changes that were the additions or deletions or updates that we made. You see there under the first one, the added guidelines regarding makeup work, and then we had some revisions to some items that were already in there. Obviously, we wanted to update the East Hall Middle School newly named principal, Dr. Christy Hastings, so we made sure we made that update. Some updates to 504 and Title IV coordinator, updated to school insurance with current website information, and then we also had to update our new cell phone personal electronic device with the new law that went into effect and the new board policy that you guys approved back in December. Any questions over the middle school? And then if we'll click on the high school one. We had one club addition, only one this year, which I think is first time ever, but we had a Chinese club that we're adding, and I believe that's to West Hall High School. We have several revisions there, including updated AP and IB dates, updated dual enrollment information, again, the Title VI and 504 coordinator, and then updated school insurance again, and then, again, the cell phone personal electronic devices was updated in the high school one. And where we decided to put that in our student agendas, as we all kind of commonly refer to it as the cell phone policy, even though we know that it includes anything that can connect to the internet or send and receive data and messages. We included in the section that says cell phone, so we put cell phone / personal electronic devices. And then you'll see there that we also added the Meta glasses and watches, because that encompasses all that the governors have to add in there. So any questions, and then you see some clubs that we removed.
And Dr. Carter, I believe you spoke with, as you do twice a month, in a group with your high school principals, and they are wanting to transition into the complete ban, not this school year, but as the law suggests, next school year.
That is correct. Yeah, they wanted to stay where they're at right now, and they said when the law changes, then we want to change with that, if that was their preference. But we're also talking to some other stakeholders, getting other feedback as well.
Do we need to approve these tonight?
Yes, please.
So if we could, like to approve the handbooks for middle and high school for the 2000, goodness gracious, 26, 27 school year.
We have a motion, have a second. All in favor?
Thank you. Last, under my section, is the field trip, so if we can open those. The two in yellow are ones that we saw last month. If we could please get approval on those. The West Hall High School one I will bring back before you at our next meeting.
Like to recommend approval of field trip 2 and 3.
Do you have a motion? Second? Second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jonathan?
Jonathan, fiscal management.
Yes, sir. The financial report for the month of March is before you. Overall, we're in a good financial position. Last month, we were 0.85% below budget. This year, we're 1.11% below budget, which is the direction we like to see.
Direction we'd like to see, but I'd ask you to keep in mind that the state bonus, that the state so generously made available to all certified teachers and all people at schools, that you expanded to all team members. The 1.8, and it came out closer to 1.8 million that it cost us locally instead of 2.0, is not reflected in that budget. With a $360 million annual budget, that's about 0.5%. So again, keep in mind that total expenditures at 73.89 hundredths is probably closer to 74 and 39 hundredths. With that being said, I'd like to recommend that the financial report be approved as presented.
Do I have a motion to approve it? Second. All in favor?
Next up is budget amendment number 4, and as Mr. Schofield mentioned a second ago, the largest part of this budget amendment is the $2,000 state bonus that is being provided. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
That being said, I'd like to recommend that budget amendment number 4 be approved as presented.
Do I have a motion? Second. All in favor?
As you know, we're required to bring to you quarterly the balances on the school-based accounts. Those are before you. If you'd open those up, please. And again, no actions required, but we do have to bring those to you. Be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? East Blast.
Aaron.
We have completed 7 East Boston information sessions, and Stan Lewis is going to provide the board an update. We actually finished 9 East Boston information sessions, I believe.
This thing on now? It's on. Yeah, we've been through all 7 of our high school clusters. We went to all 7 of our high school clusters and delivered that information. Our objective being to show stakeholders how East Boston has impacted our schools and our students, and if it passes on May 19th, what our plan is moving forward. The chamber's been great. They've been there at every meeting. They've been there advocating for us. We've also gone to a couple of communities. Sterling-on-the-Lake was one of the communities we visited. This morning we went over to Lanier Village Estates. We're trying to line a couple more up. But it's gone really well. And we've taken all the presentations and all the materials and posted it on the East Boston webpage. So every presentation from every one of those clusters is posted. You can also drill all the way down and see actually the monitors, what we had going on at every one of our schools. And so it's very well done. Hats off to Aaron's team at Technology for the work they did putting that together for the webpage.
And once again, we understand the law very well. We are not advocating for or against. We are educating people about what their penny has done in the past and what we would use it for in the future if it does pass. And isn't it about time that our country remembers that regardless of whether you're for or against, we're all on the same side, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you all for doing that. That's great.
So next we have our, the last four of the budget presentations. We're going to begin tonight with teaching and learning. Angelica, if you're going to move over to that presentation. There we go. And Suzanne's going to kick us off.
Thank you. Okay, with teaching and learning, as we move through, this is my very favorite picture ever, so I keep putting it up. These are our beautiful graduates from Ivester, where you see students represented from all of our high schools, and that just speaks to my heart. So I had to begin with that beautiful picture. Okay, moving forward, you'll see my statement that most of our teaching and learning budgets remain stable. So there wasn't a lot of change in those teaching and learning budgets. I will point out the few changes that we did have. So moving forward there, you'll see that specifically in the elementary budget, you'll see a pretty large decrease. So this one was the one that wasn't stable, but Mr. Schofield likes to see it move in this direction. But let me explain the why, because it will be short-lived. You all agreed to a core reading curriculum, which is benchmark. We are in our second year of implementation of that curriculum. And that curriculum was required, quite frankly. There was a high-quality instructional materials required by the state of Georgia that we adopt one. We chose benchmark, and you all were very generous to fund that. So we did have to pay our final installment for those materials in the fall of 2025. And so because we've paid that final installment, you will see that's the huge decrease that you see in the budget temporarily. With that purchase, the consumables will be available through the 26-27 school year, through next school year. After that, we will have to renegotiate that contract. So you will see this decrease last through then, but then you'll likely see me come back asking for additional materials for those consumables that will run out after that school year. Consumables, of course, include readers, workbooks. There are actual readers that the students take home. So we're super excited about the upward trend that we are seeing in a result of our achievement data that we, in part, give this program credit for. All right, then in addition, just a reminder that we do have another core curriculum in math for K-5, and that curriculum name is Eureka. We have been using that for quite some time, since 2021, and there is a renewable cost of $520,000 there for those students for consumable workbooks, per unit workbooks for those students to write directly in. I would be remiss if I didn't remind us all that there is a little bit of a positive ring in my ear when I hear that students are writing in workbooks. We did, as you know, and you'll hear in Dr. Turpin's presentation about technology, that we obviously have a one-to-one Chromebook, but I would be remiss if I didn't capitalize on the idea that in both of these programs, students are actually writing paper to pencil, which I think is a positive move. Any questions about the elementary budget? Okay, thank you. Then as we move forward, just a few other staffing considerations, which of course impact the budget. We continue to, specifically in the area of speech and in school psychologists, struggle to find enough in-person people, quite frankly, candidates to fill those positions. So we continue to work with contract companies to fill those positions. So far, we've been able to fill our allotted spots using contract work and payroll, meaning that we've hired a few face-to-face, but the majority still remain contract work for those positions. We have seen this year an overall increase in staff, specifically in middle school. That aligns with the pattern that we've been seeing prior to. If you saw this presentation for last year, you would have heard us say there was an elementary school increase. You don't see that this year. So what you see is that bubble that we increase moving on into middle school, with the other areas so far remaining stable. We did have a decrease in para positions overall, however, when you look at all three levels. Any questions about that? Okay, then let's move on to the last position, and that's in regards to ESOL. We have seen some fluctuation here in regards to our English for second language learners, and that is in the way of student enrollment decreases. And then as a result, as you might imagine, we had teacher allotment decreases to match those student enrollment decreases. We've had about 500 students to date that we have lost in our ESOL enrollment. That's literally to date. And then, again, all levels decrease with allotments, with the exception of West Hall High School. That increased slightly because they continue to have newcomers there, unlike some of our other schools. Any questions there?
And just to give you an appreciation for that, who would have thought that the Hall County School District, growing the way we do, would actually have a 500 to 600 student decrease this year? That's a direct reflection of the fact that the border has been closed, and wanted to make you aware of that. But as Suzanne said, West Hall is an anomaly, and there are now 23 primary languages spoken at West Hall High School. So that's pretty hard to get your arms around, the idea of individuals whose native language comes from 23 different countries under one school roof. So.
And one last little, let's end on a happy. We got our access scores back literally today. And while those are embargoed and we can't really talk about the specifics, I will say that I am super excited about those results. We have the potential to exit more students. That is once the students become proficient in English, as measured by the access test, then we exit them from ESOL. So while we'll be exiting more students, which will decrease that number again, remember that we'll be getting some on the other end as we enroll kindergartners. But I'm excited about the potential of what I can report to you in the coming days about our achievement on that test.
Keep in mind, she didn't really tell you what she was excited about, because she can't tell you how they did, but she's excited. But she didn't tell you anything.
Just listen to my voice. I didn't tell you, but there's a positive inflection. Any questions for me overall? Thank you for your continued support for our boys and girls.
Thanks, Suzanne. We began intentionally today with teaching and learning because everything we do is in support of teaching and learning. So Jay Smith, Director of Technology, will speak a little bit about the technology budget request for next year.
Good evening. I'm excited to be here in front of you guys. I want to give you an idea about the technology budget, a refreshed view of what we're looking at. So this is showing how we have separated the technology budget, where it's split out amongst these different categories. These are pretty broad categories, but they really do encompass pretty much where we are spending our budget. So before I go to the next slide, I did want to call something out here. We are facing about $200,000 in inflationary costs, and that's just kind of across the board. Things that I would say are like kind of keeping the lights on. The cost of really just doing business has increased about $200,000 for us. However, we have been able to reduce our budget request by 2% this year. So the total budget is down 2%. And you might ask, how did we do that when inflationary costs are going up across the board? The way we did that was we worked really closely with Suzanne Gerard's department in teaching and learning. Our friends there kind of helped us out to really streamline some applications that we had. What I would say before is we noticed some redundancy in some of the applications that we offered, so we were able to streamline those. So we're offering the same exact services we offered before with just a less spend. So if we can go to the next slide. The first part of the budget is the biggest one, and that is the software portion. That's 64% of our total budget. That's including things like our Microsoft contract. Again, that's just a cost of doing business type thing. Palo Alto, Cisco. These are some of our other vendors that we work with. We've also got instructional applications down here. You'll notice Brisk Teaching, that is our new artificial intelligence application that we've been running this year. Canvas is our learning management system. This is where the bulk of the technology budget is spent. 64% of our budget is spent in software. So next slide. The next one we have is hardware. Hardware is actually the third biggest category. It's sitting at 15%, I believe. That's going to cover things like our network hardware, our switches, point of access devices, access points, cabling, things like that. It also covers parts, so things like, you know, a keyboard, a mouse, more processing speed for a computer, things like that. It also covers security hardware, and that could be physical and hardware. So when we do physical security, we're thinking about controlled access locks, alarm systems, things like that. But then there is a good bit of cybersecurity hardware included. That does not include student Chromebooks or staff laptops. So I want to remind you all, you approved a SPLOST request a few board meetings ago for our teacher laptops. So that was funded entirely by our eSPLOST initiative. So hardware is not including our student Chromebooks or our staff laptops. So next slide. This is actually the second biggest category, and it's 17%. This is purchase services. So purchase services for us are when we contract with a vendor to do specific work for us. That could be a cabling vendor. It could be a vendor that comes in and helps us out with security things, security retainers, things like that. This shows several different products and several different areas where this would be spent. But one I do want to call out is the VoIP icon there. So with VoIP, I went down and I looked up some quick numbers here. We are in year 3 of trying to convert a lot of our sites over to VoIP. In this year, in 27, we hope to be almost 100% complete with the VoIP project. That would be a total realized savings moving to VoIP from the old analog POTS lines over 3 years of $1.5 million. Not a drop in the bucket. That is substantial money saved by us moving to VoIP, and that's included in our purchase service category. So next slide. The final one we have, as far as the pie chart was concerned, is our networks. So this is how we fund the networks that would make a school be able to communicate to other schools. This would also be how we provide internet access to the district. Right now, we have realized $1.14 million in federal funding, and that took a local commitment of $228,000. So USAC, our federal programs, are very important to us in Hall County. We have a team in my office that works on these things. They are instrumental in getting us this funding. This is a big, big part of the way that Hall County schools are funded as far as networks are concerned. Next slide. This is a slide that I hand tabulated. So this is showing, it says cybersecurity investments, 14% of total budget. This is really our cybersecurity spend. So this encompasses things like software, it encompasses things like hardware, it encompasses things like a security retainer we may have. 14% of the entire budget is spent on cybersecurity. I think that's important to say again. 14% is spent on cybersecurity. It's not a question of if we will be attacked. It's a question of when we'll be attacked and how far they will get. We are not dealing with well, we do deal with this. We do deal with you know, hackers that are coming up, that are young hackers. We deal with some of that. We also deal with a lot of attacks from like what you would consider a nation state. So we deal with attacks coming from Russia, from China, all day, every day. Some of the products that we use to defend from that are listed out here on the right. The one that I'm most, the two that I'm probably the most proud of are the top two. Incident detection and response, 24/7, 365, and dark web monitoring and alerting. Incident detection and response, we have a dedicated team here. I mean, I've stood before you and spoken about this before. We've had people that responded on Christmas Eve to network attacks. We have a dedicated team. However, there are going to be times when the people that report to the ISC are just unavailable, and they may not be at a phone to catch the alert. We pay for a service, we pay for a group of people to monitor our networks and respond to things if we're not able to respond at 3 in the morning. So that's a very important one, number one. Number two, dark web monitoring and alerting. This is a tool that we use that continually scans the dark web, looking for credentials, looking for our information being sold on the dark web. If we know that's happening, we can put a stop to it. We can kind of limit the collateral damage from some of those credentials or some of those applications being vulnerable out there. That's a huge one. Going on down, we also do some Microsoft Google Cloud app monitoring and alerting. We have data exfiltration prevention, so if for some reason somebody got a big bad virus on their laptop, and all of a sudden that virus is trying to talk back to some hacker in Russia, and it's trying to get a bunch of data off of our network, this would stop it before anything ever took place. That's your data exfiltration. Secure and simple MFA is a process we went through a few years ago. We still pay for that. That's a great product. Our Duo MFA has been very good for us. Privileged access management, that really just means that the people that need access to things have access to the things that they need. Enterprise endpoint detection and response is your typical antivirus type of protection. So,
Jay or Aaron, if you could please, because when you talk about North Korea, Iran, Russia, and China, we're not talking about an attack or two a week. How many times is their network attacked on a daily basis?
I would say hundreds of thousands of times.
And it's constant. If you ever look at the analytics on that, it is frightening. And just trying to stay a half a step ahead of the bad actors is multiple full-time jobs. So thank you for what you do. Also appreciate the reality that we looked in our community and said, who probably does this the best? Without a doubt, it's the hospital system. Aaron, how many times have you met with the hospital?
Numerous times. Numerous times.
And they have been so gracious in terms of sharing some best practices and some resources. But it's going to be nonstop.
It is.
And so thank you.
And Jay, true or false, the average attack against a K-12 system is millions of dollars in losses for successful attacks, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I mean, if we talked about this last time, if you think about how valuable a kindergartner's data is, if someone stole that identity, that is years of not knowing that that identity has been stolen, maybe years to build up to destroy the credit of that user. So yes, a child's account is very, very valuable to a hacker.
Thanks, Jay. All right, next
Aaron.
today, I'm sorry, sir.
If you could just remind us, the Chromebooks and the teacher laptops without eSplost, how much would that affect our budget? What would that dollar figure be?
The percentage, I don't know the percentage,
The,
but the dollar amount.
Over $1 million for laptops, and a Chromebook, $380 a piece. We have 28,000 of them.
It would be $2 to $4 million a year, Mr. Chairman.
That would move from eSplost to the general fund.
That's correct.
eSplost.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, next we're heading to transportation, and Billy Wells, Transportation Director, as of June 1st, will be leading the presentation today, assisted by current Transportation Director Clay Hobbs.
All right. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight to talk about the budget, and for Clay on getting me up to speed in terms of what that world looks like.
Clay, you going to give him a grade tonight? Are you kind of watching and taking a few notes? See if he.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, I think you should too.
I'll take a grade. That's okay. When you look up and you see this number, just kind of rhetorically, what do you think of in terms of transportation?
Diesel, fuel.
Number of miles that those buses run every year.
That's right. So in 24, 25, these are the number of miles in 1 year that our buses traveled. 4,436,049 miles. So that's a lot of miles to log in. I think at one time we had a picture of the world behind this, and I think there's almost 25,000 miles to go around the world. And so with this number, you can do that about 180 times. So just imagine the amount of travel that involves. Next slide, please. Our bus fleet, to reach those miles, what does that look like? That's 406 school buses that we have. 270 of those are diesel-powered buses. 112 are LP-powered buses, and 24 are gasoline-powered buses. Our fleet, the average age is a little over 13 years. So we're on average, we're a little older than some of what the normal average is. And similar to technology, bus replacement is not included in this budget request. So that's our fleet and kind of what it looks like. If we move on to talk about personnel that handles that, there are 263 drivers that drive a morning route and an afternoon route. And so that's 4 runs per day that those individual drivers carry out. There are 212 regular ed drivers, 51 sped drivers, and you can see down through there how it continues for our teachers and coaches that also drive as well, our lead drivers that we have in place, and then our 5 van drivers that we have as well. In the operations center, you take those drivers and who's going to support them from routing to dispatch to accounting to payroll, 14 staff members there. And then lastly, we have the 2 shops, the shop in Oakwood and then the shop in the North Hall area up next to Walkup Mountain, where we have combined a total of 11 mechanics and a shop manager for each one of those locations. Talking about the budget itself, if you look at reaching all those miles and how we get there, in terms of diesel, there are, the request is for 420,000 gallons at an estimated price of $4.50 a gallon. You can see that the LP at $2.10 a gallon, and then the gasoline at $4 a gallon. So our total fuel budget is a little over $3 million, and that's about almost half of our overall budget. And when we look at those numbers in today's world, it's very challenging, especially when we talk about the diesel fuel and what that cost might be or what it's going to be. We definitely have some uncertainty there in terms of market conditions, but we certainly know that we want to get our boys and girls to school and back home. And we're going to do that by making sure we take care of them from a fuel standpoint too, to be able to do that. In terms of doing that, when you have a fleet that large, there's certainly parts and items that are associated with that makes up 26% of that budget that we're talking about. That's anything from tires and what those look like, all the way through brakes, all those things that are really important to keep that fleet going. And you know, there's a lot of things involved. I know when I woke up this morning and my daughter hit the key to her Jeep and it didn't start, well, that was Dad to go find some parts and let's take care of that as well. So totally understand what that's like. So with our fleet, this is another part of that, and it makes up 26% of that. Safety equipment and what that might look like, that's anything from fire suppression systems to fire extinguishers on the buses, to all those different unique things that come into play in terms of vehicle safety. And if you think about it, and I've learned a lot from Mr. Hobbs already, when you're out driving around and you're out on the maybe some rural parts in the East Hall or the North Hall area, and it's the driver and the kids. And so there has to be safety equipment involved to make sure that they can take care of our kids. You can't just necessarily turn the bus around and go somewhere. It takes time, and sometimes we don't have time. And so having the right equipment is really important, and that makes up about 5% of our budget. In terms of safety equipment, around $400,000. And then in terms of operations, I did mention it earlier, the shop that we have up north next to Walkup Mountain, what that looks like. I know talking to Mr. Hobbs, talking about the radio systems that we have, recently completed some of the repairs with that, getting those to where they need to be, that we have a much more reliable system and clearer system in terms of our radio transmissions. And that operations budget also includes what we talked about a couple of weeks ago in terms of tablets, what we're doing over at Martin Elementary, the work that we're doing there to try to get away from paper, to become more efficient, to provide better communications between bus drivers, mechanics, with our schools, to our parents, all those other pieces that are associated with that program as well. And those are just some of the benefits that we're looking forward to having in terms of what that looks like. And that accounts for about 19% of the overall budget with operations that are happening there as well. When you put it all together, to put that pie together in terms of those different breakdowns, you know, looking at a little bit of the rounding, that overall budget request for transportation is a little over $7 million. Any questions?
Clay, how does that 7 million compare to this year's transportation budget? 9.1%, 600. And you could trace almost all of that to fuel.
That and a few of our technology initiatives, but mainly fuel, yes, sir.
Okay.
I can't remember a more volatile environment for fuel prices than we have right now, considering what happened in Venezuela not very long ago and what we're looking at in Iran now. So, it's just a tough time to try to make a guess.
And I would say that it has been refreshing that the LP market does not change much. That's a 100% domestic. It's a byproduct of the liquefied natural gas process, and so fortunately we've been able to rely on about 35% of our fleet being LPs. But thank you.
While we transition to the next section, Clay, I would like to, this is probably the last time you're going to be in front of the board until you retire. I want to thank you for all that you've done for transportation. I believe it's been 10 years, and boy, you've taken us a long way. And I sure appreciate all you've done, and I sure appreciate how you've taken Billy. It's a really servant's heart that you have. So thank you for all that you've done. Thank you. And we'll wrap things up with Matt Cox, our Executive Director of Facilities and Construction.
Thank you. Tonight, just going to bring you kind of a reminder of the breakdown of our budget. It kind of breaks down into three main categories. Our major outsourced contracts, are things like custodial, landscape, garbage, pest control. Utilities, we are actually paying the utilities for the entire district. And then maintenance daily operations breaks down into two categories: in-house, those performed by our school system employees, our maintenance employees, and then our outsourced work that is done by others. So our current status is we are up a little bit in square footage, 94,442 increase this year due to Johnson High and North Hall High School coming online. Total square footage for the district then a little over 4.6 million. But the budget increases that we do have this year are due mostly to rising labor and material costs, not as much to the additional square footage. Go to the next one. So we're kind of off the page here a little bit, but what you're seeing there at the top one, those are our categories that will have some increases. These are all of our in-house, all of our kind of our maintenance division. So first are the outsourced contracts, several listed there, and then in-house electrical and hardware. This is all, as I said, due mostly to labor and material costs and just the aging of the facilities. We do have one reduction, which is in-house HVAC. We're actually decreasing that one because we're utilizing more outsourced HVAC work these days. And then the last item we have listed here are elevator door lock monitoring. This is on some of our older elevators. Code change has required this to be done, so it's like an $85,000 cost that is a one-time cost that's in this budget. So moving on to the next one. As far as our utilities and major contracts go, we have an increase in electricity this year. This is just based on our historic usage information. And then on our major contracts, in a few minutes, we're going to be bringing to you new contracts for garbage, recycle, and lawn landscape. Each of those are 9% increases, but are within the amount that we had anticipated. The custodial increase that you see there, 2.5%, some of that is for employee raises, but over half of that is due to just increases in manpower. We're adding about 35 hours a day across the district. This is really based on several years of us kind of working with the custodial company as we had portions of buildings closed down. So, for instance, as East Hall was going through its transition phases, we had sections of the building that weren't there. We weren't cleaning that, so we were keeping track of all that. So what you're looking at is kind of an accumulation of 3 years of us making some additions and changes that now we need to get coverage for, and we're going to have to pay for that. So the last slide here just is kind of a summary of how it all breaks down. This is pretty much right. We typically see ourselves between 81 and 82% on the utilities and major contracts, and 18 to 20% on maintenance daily operations. So that total is $4.62 a square foot. So what that is, though, to know what that is, that's $4.62 a square foot per year. So that's our entire budget. We're doing all of this work at $4.62 a square foot. Any questions?
We've been doing a lot of HVAC work, I know, across the county. Has that made a big difference in our power bills? Because it looks like things are more efficient and more...
They are. When we do our board training tonight, I'm going to be showing you an example of that.
Okay.
But we do have examples from Chestatee and Davis, and one of those was 15% less, and the other is 19% less.
I was thinking it should be...
So that is the conclusion of all the major functional areas as far as the board overview, budget overview, pardon me. Next step will be when Jonathan and team bring you the line item budget for your consideration.
However, let's just talk overall budget in general. Keep in mind that due to the reality of some of the local legislation last year, as well as the statewide legislation that you chose not to opt out of, you wanted to fulfill what the people had asked for, that we're running at about a $7 million deficit this year. And with some legislation that has been passed locally this year, which lowered the senior exemption age from 70 to 66, and if the governor signs that bill, it will have to go before the electorate in November. We are projecting that that could be somewhere between another $9 and $12 million loss to revenue from that change from 70 to 66. There are 4,430 residents between the ages of 70 and 74. We don't have the number of residents between 66 and 70, but one would have to believe there will actually be more of those than there are individuals 70 to 74. So just want to tell you that if in fact that resolution passes, there'll be some major changes coming. One of the things we often hear is, well, you're just spending too damn much money. That's why you're going to have to do that. I would remind you of the 180 districts in the state of Georgia. You consistently rank in the lowest quartile for per pupil expenditures. And latest data in FY25, we were 22nd percentile. And with the opportunities that this board provides for boys and girls, I would say that's nothing short of amazing. But once again, I just want you to be aware that the overall picture is going to be, there'll have to be some changes coming, and we'll have a lot to talk about over the next month or two.
Will, is there any talk about what the state plans to do? Hopefully our East Block will pass, but is there any plan in place now that they're changing those numbers on the age down to 66 and what they're going to do when school systems don't have the money to meet their needs?
Well, Deborah, the challenge is, and I've been saying it for 30 years, property tax is a terrible way to pay for education. But we don't see any movement, haven't seen any movement away from that. That would have to be at the state level. The challenge when we do these 180 districts and one at a time, people make fairly significant changes, is that I compare it to picking us off one at a time. And so once again, it would be one thing if we were doing this across the state. This was local legislation for us only. That is now going to let the voters decide whether we want to lower the senior exemption age from 70 to 66. And again, it's every community's prerogative, but I would remind us we do have to pay for education for boys and girls.
All right, who's handling contracts? Contract recommendations?
Yes, sorry. Yes, we have two contract recommendations to bring before the board for consideration. Which one's first? This first one is garbage and recycle. We had 5 responders. The Proposals were reviewed by the committee, which consisted of myself, Scott Morgan, and Scott Hodgkins. Eric Raddick was the facilitator. And you see before you the final scoring and recommendation from the committee. Waste Eliminator, by the way, is a Hall County company.
Who's the contract who do we currently have the contract with, Matt?
Waste Management.
Thank you.
Any questions on that?
If not, I'd recommend that we award the garbage disposal recycling services to the best bid, which was Waste Eliminator, as you see in the rubric.
Do I have a motion? Motion. Do I have a second? All in favor? And we have one of their representatives here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Next up is Landscape Services. Three proposers here. ACS Landscape Management is the recommendation from the committee. ACS is our current provider. This would be then the third time that they have been our provider, and we've been very satisfied with them, and that would be the recommendation of the committee.
If there are no questions, I'd like to recommend that ACS Landscape Management be awarded the landscaping services bid for the FY27 school year.
Do I have a motion? Second? All in favor?
Also want to point out to this board, your move towards outsourcing over the last 12 to 15 years is really starting to pay some dividends at this point. Keep in mind, when we used to do all of these, whether it's custodial, whether it's landscaping, every one of those individuals has to have state merit health insurance, which now is approaching $25,000 per employee per year for the employer costs. So once again, that's turning out to be a significant, wise move that you made 12, 15 years ago.
Personnel.
You have attached there tonight the personnel action items, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Once again, those were sent out last week, and if you don't have any questions, I'd like to recommend that the personnel packet be approved as presented.
Motion? Second? All in favor? Now it's time for citizens' input. Susan?
Surprise. What would you do if I didn't sign up every time? Oh, no. Okay, so, two things. First, when I last addressed the board, I asked about the $79,000 per year rental for the Hall County School District Central Warehouse be reviewed. I continue to believe that the district should either build a new facility or retrofit an existing facility to serve as the central warehouse. Last year, the rent for the facility increased $4,000, which was an increase of just over 5%. The property is in the city of Gainesville. By renting the suite at 961 Chestnut Street, the district is contributing to the taxes paid by the owner of the 6.2 acres, which is a property that the taxes go to the Gainesville school system. By either building or retrofitting this central warehouse, the district would keep the central office in a tax-exempt status. Finally, renting in the short term is acceptable in most cases until a permanent facility can be created, and I think now is the time to plan for that move. Second item. At the Board of Education meeting on April 13th, the Transportation Department presented a trial phase for having tablets on the school buses. Using the tablets to allow bus drivers to clock in and record the daily safety checks before and after traveling the routes appears to be a good replacement for the paper records. Even having the GPS systems with route information available for substitute drivers seems reasonable as well. However, the risk to the students by having personally and identifiable information loaded on these tablets could be inviting some unnecessary danger from either hacking, tablets being left unattended on the bus, or by distracted driving. While Georgia's hands-free law does not prevent a GPS navigation device from being mounted in any vehicle, the device must not require hand contact by the driver. I've already received several messages from bus drivers who sincerely believe that they would need to help the younger students as they scan in and out, getting on and off the bus. Regardless of the final decision, I hope that the board will seriously gather input from both the bus drivers and the parents before considering adoption of this system. And one last thing I think I'll mention, I've seen this for a couple of years now, when you vote for the field trips, and I'm very confused as to why the board votes for the field trips, since the process for the board is to look at budgets, to look at the administration, and for policy. So the field trips don't seem to fit one of those. So, thank you.
Thank you. Frank?
I'm going to keep my hat on because it's freezing in here. And that's just nuts. I mean, that's just crazy. I'm going to take my hat off and freeze. I'm here going to encourage you to include solar electric systems in your 10-year plan for construction and renovation. I'll repeat that not only would such action mitigate against climate change, but would also be a financial benefit to the district. When a government organization is responsible to the public, it's necessary for the organization to act in the best interest of the public. It's appalling that you keep refusing to do the right thing. Provisional data from U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center shows that sea ice extent peaked at 14.9 square kilometers on March 15th. Kilometer is about a half a mile. This is slightly smaller than the previous record for the annual maximum set just last year. The annual maximum is a key marker in a cycle that collects data on sea ice extent growth through the winter, before melting in spring and summer to a yearly minimum. The record marks a very alarming winter for Arctic sea ice, and there is more grim news as the thickness of the ice is near record lows, meaning that Arctic sea ice is entering late winter in one of the weakest states in the satellite record. The past 6 months has seen Arctic ice extend at record or near record lows, alongside unusually warm conditions across much of the region. These go hand in hand as warmer air and ocean temperatures help melt the ice, and with less ice, the ocean absorbs more heat, which further speeds up warming. In addition to large parts of the Arctic, temperatures were unusually warm in the western U.S., southern Europe, and eastern Eurasia, while northern Eurasia, northern Canada, and the northern eastern U.S. experienced unusually cold conditions. That's linked to a more wavy jet stream, which can push cold Arctic air southward while bringing warmer air into the Arctic. Human-caused climate change is completely reshaping the polar environment, and this is already having wide-ranging consequences. People throughout the planet are under stress, and you have the ability to act to reduce that stress in a small way. Yet you do not act. That is unacceptable. Who is wise and understanding among you? By your good conduct, show your works in the meekness of wisdom.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. All right. We do have board training, but we're going to take a brief recess. We've got some meals before our training, and then you're welcome to stay for that.
Thank you.
We need a motion.
I don't think so.
Just take a break.